Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about how to use a protractor. So I have an angle here that I want to measure, and I have my protractor. My protractor looks like this, has a big hole in the middle. There are some that don't have a big hole in the middle. There are also some that are solid, not easy to see through. Those ones are the hardest to use, but any kind of see-through protractor is going to be useful. So I want to measure this angle. And so I'm trying to figure out how much rotation or the relative direction between these two rays. So this is my vertex, one of the rays, and the other ray. So I'm going to take this protractor, and I have this really little hole in the middle of the protractor right here. You can kind of see it a little bit. And what I need to do is, this hole is the thing that I need to use to measure the angle. I need to put the vertex right where that hole is. This is one of the easiest ways to use a protractor wrong, is to not put the vertex where the vertex is supposed to go. A lot of people try to put the vertex at the bottom of the protractor. That is not going to correctly measure the angle. I have to put the vertex in this hole. So here's my vertex, and I'm going to take my protractor and put that hole so it's matching up with the vertex. And then the first ray, I need to line up with this very bottom mark. See, this mark is longer than all the other ones on my protractor, and that needs to line up with this ray. I also have, you can see a line here on the protractor. That's going to make a straight line if I connected it all the way across with that longer ray, so I can, or longer mark. So I can also match up this mark with the first line that I'm trying to use. Okay, so I've got that done. And then I come over here to where the other side of the angle, the second ray, passes through all the markings on my protractor. And so here it looks like this angle is marching, this line is marching right through this mark on my protractor, which says 70. So this angle is going to measure 70 degrees. I start from here and I turn, and I'm getting an angle measure of 70 degrees. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Let's try one that's maybe a little more difficult. So here's another angle. Let's move this one out of the way. Here's another angle that I want to measure. And first off, this angle is not oriented quite so nicely on the page. I can either turn my protractor or I can turn the angle so that I can see what's going on here. And again, I'm going to take this hole in my protractor and I'm going to match it up with the vertex and this line, and I'm going to match it up with the first ray. Now, both of these rays are a little bit short for my particular protractor. So the thing that I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier on myself is I'm going to extend these rays. So I just took my ruler and I lined it up with the first ray and extended that. And I'm going to line it up with the second ray and I extended that. So now I'm going to be in the situation of the first ray where I have a nice big angle that's big enough for my protractor to use. If you don't have enough space for that on your paper, you could try to kind of like put a ruler if you needed to kind of mark where the rays are. Just extend the lines to make it easier for yourself to see. So then I take my hole and I put it on the vertex and I line up the first ray with this first mark and with the mark in here. And then I look and see, okay, where is this line going through? Well, it looks like it's going through between 30 and 40 on my protractor. But the first thing that I want to notice here is that this angle is a lot bigger than 30 or 40 degrees. So I'm going to actually use the other markings that are here on the protractor. You can see that 90 has only one marking and everybody else has two markings. And that's for if your angle is smaller than 90 degrees, smaller than a right angle, you would use the smaller number. If your angle is bigger than 90 degrees, bigger than a right angle, which our angle is in this case, it's opened further than a quarter turn, then I'm going to use the bigger numbers on the protractor. So in this case, I'm actually in between 140 and 150 degrees. So I can actually look and see on my protractor here. So I have these little lines in between 140 and 150. So this longer one is 140, 141, 142, 143. And this line looks like it goes right through 144. So I'm going to call this angle 144 degrees. Typically, you want to choose the angle marking that's closest on your protractor. You can estimate 1/2 degree of an angle if you want to, but that's going to be an estimate. So generally, measuring to the whole number angle is enough for most of our purposes, unless you are being given different kinds of specific instructions. So I hope that helped you with how to use a protractor. If you have any questions about your individual protractor and how you might use it, if you can't locate the hole or you can't figure out where you should put your first ray, please feel free to ask one of your instructors. We would love to help. Thanks.